Welcome to Latest Movie Recap, your home for the best movie and series breakdowns. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell. Today, we're diving into one of the most thrilling heist stories ever told. Let's begin. A car stopped beside me. A man with calm eyes told me the truth. Police were surrounding my mother's house, waiting for me to come. He showed me photos. He said he had a job, the kind of job no one could refuse. 2,400 million euros. Earlier that day, I woke to the sound of police sirens blaring from the TV, my body frozen. My lover gone. A police officer's bullet ended his life in seconds. That day, I went from robber to murderer. His death burned through me, and now my face was on every wall in Spain, every police station, every news channel. But I couldn't hide forever. That's not who I am. There was one thing I needed to do before the world swallowed me whole. I called my mother from a phone booth. I asked her to go outside. I didn't know the police were already watching her house, waiting for me to walk into their trap. Then he appeared. He said he had a job, the kind of job no one could refuse. 2,400 million euros. I had nothing left to lose, so I got in the car. He called himself the Professor. He took me, and soon others like me, to a house far outside the city. For 5 months, we prepared for the biggest robbery in history. Every detail planned, every risk calculated. He promised no blood would be shed. The people would call us heroes, not monsters. But he had rules. No names, no pasts, no relationships. We chose code names after cities. I became Tokyo. Berlin, cold as ice, our leader inside the mint. A man who'd robbed the world 27 times before. Moscow, once a miner, now a man who dug into banks instead of earth. His son Denver has also joined him. He specializes in substances, knocked out teeth and broken bones. Rio, my favorite, is the tech genius. He knows everything about alarms and technology, but nothing about human relationships. The Helsinki and Oslo twins who were formerly brutal military men. Nairobi, who is a hopeless optimist, has been counterfeiting banknotes since the age of 13. So in their team, she is responsible for quality. And the professor himself, a ghost, no records, no identity, no face the world would recognize. The plan was perfect. On the day of the operation, we disguise ourselves in red jumpsuits and dolly masks. We would intercept a truck carrying rolls of money paper into the Royal Mint of Spain. Once inside, we would lock it down, take the hostages, start printing billions of euros, and keep the police guessing. And at first, it worked. Meanwhile, a school bus with students from the British College went to the museum at the factory. One of the students sat by herself and occasionally glanced timidly at the school hottie Pablo. He caught her eye, sat next to her, and asked her out. The girl immediately agreed, and they kissed. Disguised, Nairobi and I also arrived there in our car. We had to find a girl among the students, who everyone called Lamb, but her real name was Alison Parker. The police car with Berlin passed the checks and entered the territory of the royal court. The students prepared for the tour and got accredited to visit the museum. Meanwhile, the secretary, Monica, informed her boss, Archero, that she was pregnant. The police car and the truck entered the factory. The lift started heading towards the truck. Monica caught up with her boss, who clearly didn't care about the news about her pregnancy. The man was annoyed because he had a wife and 3 children. He also didn't believe that the child was his, as his own children were conceived through artificial insemination. Rio informed our team that the alarm had been disabled. As the lift approached the truck, the thugs in jumpsuits and dolly masks jumped out of the truck. We instantly grabbed and tied up all the staff. The students began to run around in panic, but Allison was not among them. She and her boyfriend had their first date in a factory toilet. Pablo persistently flirted with the girl, which made her feel very awkward. When she refused to go all the way, the guy suggested taking a picture in such a memorable place. Right before they took a picture, he tore her bra off her chest and mocked her, saying that now she would become famous throughout the school. The girl desperately tried to take away his phone with the incriminating photo, which helped me find the couple. We put black masks on the hostages. Then we took off our masks. Berlin greeted them and apologized, assuring everyone that we won't hurt them. But everyone Will has to hand over their phones and tell. Their passcodes. He calmed some very panicked women and told them that he will protect them, since they are also a part of our plan. Moscow and Denver found the safe. Nairobi took over the printing presses. Rio disabled the alarms. The professor watched from the outside, directing everything with cold precision. Berlin asked Monica to answer the phone and say that the factory was closed for technical reasons. She lied so believably that Berlin praised her. 20 minutes after the break-in, we established an analog connection with the professor. There were no other signals left inside. The doors were closed, the alarm didn't work, and no one knew that we had taken over the Spanish mint. I hung all of the hostages' phones on a blackboard. No one knew we weren't stealing existing money. We were printing new money, billions of it. But even perfection can crack. The police surrounded the mint. Their negotiator, Raquel Murillo, arrived. The professor spoke to her with charm, with politeness that confused everyone, even flirting with her while demanding a helicopter to Brazil. She didn't know she was talking to the man controlling everything. Then it all went wrong. We needed to trick the police, make them think we were escaping with cash so they'd back off. The plan was simple. Step outside, leave fake money at the door, fire in the air, retreat. But the police fired first. They hit Rio. I lost control. I shot back. For the first time, blood was spilled. Rio survived, but the professor's plan of no violence was shattered. While Raquel struggled to calm the situation, the military brought in special forces. Not because of us. Because one hostage, Alison Parker, was the daughter of the British ambassador, a friend of the Queen of England. They wanted to storm the mint that night. But the professor had planned for this too. Before the assault, we dressed every hostage in red jumpsuits and dolly masks, handed them fake guns, made them look exactly like us. When Alison called live on television, begging the police not to attack because no one could tell who was who, the military froze. We won our first battle without a single shot. Inside, the hostages worked in shifts printing billions of euros, 8 million every hour, 1,400 sheets a day, cut into 140,000 banknotes. Others, like Arturo and Pablo, were forced to dig a secret escape tunnel through the basement, breaking concrete meter by meter. They didn't know the tunnel was for us, not them. I watched as the professor controlled the police walkie-talkies and 18 cameras, so if anyone had attempted to set us up, my team would have been the first to know about it. My accomplices took turns watching the hostages and guarding the exits at the production site. The professor had successfully used the information he got from Raquel at the cafe. We had taken Monica outside to read out another message in which she had once again told that all the hostages were dressed in red jumpsuits and were wearing dolly masks, so any attempt to storm the building could lead to tragic consequences. The snipers had noticed that my teammate was standing next to Monica as he was telling her what to do, and they had asked permission to open fire. But Angel hadn't dared to give the order to take out the criminal. He had decided to buy more time, and we had calmly returned to the building. Berlin had selected men among the hostages who had to do physical work. Among them were Pablo and Arturo. Even though Arturo had tried his best to get out of work, Berlin had convincingly forced him to do it. The male hostages had been sent to the basement, where Moscow had given them instructions. They had had to destroy the concrete with a sledgehammer and lay 48 meters of path to the sewer. Upon returning from their shift, they had been forbidden to tell other people what they were doing. In other words, the hostages themselves had organized an escape route for us. Thus, the printing process had gone on without interruption. In 20 hours, the printing presses had produced 52 million euros, so at that moment my team had been sure that we would succeed. But it was only the calm before the storm. Soon things would go so awry for my team that we would come very close to failure. And the reason for it was a love story that was worth ruining everything. If you enjoyed this recap of Money Heist, La Casa de Papel, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more epic series and movie breakdowns every week.